Hey everyone, and welcome. So, I want you to imagine someone who faced just constant hardship. We're talking mockery, poverty, the works. But instead of breaking, he responded with this almost supernatural joy. It's an incredible story. Today we're diving into the life of Rabbi Israel ber Odesser, a story about ironclad faith, a love that knew no bounds, and a spirit so powerful that people said he could literally wage wars in worlds we can't even see.
Okay, so let's start with this really powerful, kind of mystical idea. For the tzaddikim in their death are called living. What does that even mean? Well, it suggests that certain truly righteous souls, the tzaddikim, they don't really leave us. It's like their presence, their energy is still accessible, long after they've passed on. And honestly, this is the perfect way to start to understand the life of Rabbi Israel.
So how does that work? How does a saint stay among us? It turns out it's not just some nice metaphor. It's considered a real, active spiritual reality. And the way this spiritual life is kept going is actually beautiful. It happens when their followers get together, when they share stories, and just talk about their teachings. So get this, by us exploring these stories right now, we're actually, in a way, taking part in keeping Rabbi Israel's spirit alive and well. How cool is that?
And that brings us right to the heart of who he was, his absolutely unbreakable spirit. I mean, he faced a lifetime of challenges, but his response, it was this incredible, almost supernatural strength and joy.
This quote just nails it. It talks about something called his holy audacity. Think of it like a spiritual boldness that made him completely bulletproof to mockery or people trying to bring him down. Where most of us would be just crushed by that kind of humiliation, Rabbi Israel, he seemed to feed off it, drawing even more strength and passion for his connection with God.
See, his strength wasn't just like a shield he put up. No, it was an active, joyful force that just baffled people. It's like the more the world tried to push him down, the higher his spirit would soar. The people who were against him, they just couldn't wrap their heads around it. It completely went against the normal rules of human nature. And you can hear it in his own words. He basically says, I took all the bullets, all the humiliations, with love and great strength. He didn't just endure it, you see. He absorbed all that negativity with love and somehow transformed it into this incredible strength. And people saw it. They knew what he had wasn't natural. They just couldn't figure out where it came from.
So all this inner strength, it wasn't just for him. Not at all. It poured out of him as this deep, selfless love for every single person he met. I mean, no exceptions, no judgment, just pure love.
And it was really radical for the time. It just didn't matter who you were. It didn't matter what you looked like or what you'd done in your life. He would see someone, maybe in dirty clothes, someone totally disconnected from any spiritual path, and greet them with the kind of love and excitement you'd save for a long-lost family member. He was ready to give them absolutely everything he had.
There's this one story that just perfectly captures his self-sacrifice. It's from his daughter. She said that until she got married, she genuinely believed that it was just a normal Jewish custom for the man of the house to give his bed to a guest and sleep on the floor for Shabbat. Why? Because she saw her father do it, time and time again, and always with so much joy. She just assumed, well, that's what everyone does. She had no idea it was this incredible personal act of piety. And it wasn't just him, That spirit filled their whole house. Even though they were incredibly poor themselves, his wife, Esther Mindel, would have their daughter take their entire Shabbat meal over to a poor elderly woman nearby. And to make sure the woman wasn't embarrassed, she'd tell her daughter to pretend they were just returning dishes they'd borrowed. Just amazing. This boundless love was truly a family affair.
Okay, so where did all this come from? Well, his love and strength seem to come from this deep connection to another reality, an unseen world. And the stories about him, they really start to blur the line between the world we all see and a spiritual world that he could apparently perceive.
So try to picture this. It's a really tense time. There are threats coming from Syria against Israel. One night, Rabbi Israel is sitting with his students, and out of nowhere he says, I had a difficult war, and praise God, I succeeded in killing him. Imagine being in that room. You'd have no idea what he was talking about. It would sound cryptic, maybe even a little crazy. But then, the very next day, the radio announces that the Syrian leader's son had been killed suddenly in a car accident. And this wasn't just anyone. This was someone known to be even more hostile towards Israel than his father. The story just puts those two events side by side, leaving you to think about that powerful and kind of unsettling connection. He just had this
this uncanny sense about things. Here's another quick story. A guy invites him over to see his brand new apartment. The first thing Rabbi Israel does is walk in and just lie down on a bed. He immediately jumps back up and tells the man, "You have to leave this place." He said the home was spiritually located under Gehenna, under hell. The family moved out, and just a few days later, a fire broke out that almost destroyed the entire apartment. Unbelievable.
So, okay, beyond all these incredible, almost miraculous stories, what was his main message? What did he really want to teach people? Well, his teachings were super direct, really powerful, and all about creating a constant, living, breathing connection with God.
And his advice was all about simplicity and intensity. For one, pray for everything. Big things, small things, doesn't matter. He said your mouth should be like a mill, just constantly grinding out words of prayer. The land of Israel? For him, it was everything, the absolute best place to be for holiness. I love this one part where someone asks him for a spiritual remedy to help them move to Israel, and he just says, "You want a remedy to go up? Go up! Just do it!" His advice was always that direct. Unite with your friends, share the teachings, and live with that same holy audacity that he had. And this really brings us right back to where we started. Remember that idea that a righteous person is still living even after they're gone? Well, Rabbi Yisrael's legacy is just the perfect proof of that. His influence is still growing, even today, long after he passed away.
This quote, "My fire will burn until the coming of the Messiah," is so central to his story. It comes from this famous kind of mystical note that he received when he was a young man, a note he was convinced came straight from the spirit of the great Rabbi Nachman of Breslov. And he understood it to mean that his light, his teachings, his whole way of being, that it was going to keep lighting up the world right until the very end.
So his legacy, it's not some dusty old historical footnote. No way. It's a living, breathing thing. You can find it in the books he sacrificed everything to print, in the students he inspired, and yeah, in these very stories that people are still telling, stories that keep revealing just how deep and how great he really was.
And I want to leave you with this really powerful question from Rabbi Yisrael himself. He asked, "Is it possible that I am the gardener whom everyone took for a fool and threw stones at?" Now, he's referring to a famous tale from Rabbi Nachman about a simple gardener who everyone thought was a fool, but was secretly this incredibly powerful hidden saint. By asking that question about himself, he really makes us think, what does real greatness actually look like? Is it something we always see and recognize? Or does it sometimes hide in plain sight, taking all the hits, all the mockery, while quietly, behind the scenes, holding up the whole world? It's a lot to think about,